Here we go. Thank you. Okay, so I'm Larry Boris. Thanks all for coming to this is the June 15th, 1991 Gun Club meeting. So let's just start around, go around, have everybody just something like, yeah, I get that right? 21, yeah, 2021. Okay, so yeah, something like that. So let's go around and just introduce yourself. Ron?
Ron Muley.
Steve O. Wilson, Joe Petter, Wayne Hitchcock, Jim Gergerich, Mark Clark, Julian Howard, Dave Cole, Joe Burton, Tom Everhart.
Great. And so Tom and Joe have offered to tell us about air rifles and pistols today. So I'll turn it over to Tom. Go ahead.
Well, everybody was young at one time, and I'm sure most of you will recognize that. That's a Daisy right. 80 years old. Not this gun, but that's when it first came. And then this one is a Daisy 880. This is 40-year-old. And then you go to. Those are BBs or pups?
BB.
All right, this is a BB, and this is a 177. You can buy this gun at Walmart for like $30. It's and it's like this, and it's a good entry level gun. And I'm missing one. No, I'm not. Okay. This is 20-year-old technology. This is a day state. It's one of 20 in the whole in this category. I was lucky to get it.
What's the
Day state. Day state is probably one of the older manufacturers here in the country. And they have Air Guns of Arizona is in Gilbert. That's probably the best pellet gun shop in the world. They have almost everything you would want. And he's been there before. And this is 5-year-old technology. This is a day state as well. And you have air cylinder here and you pump it up. They're called PCPs, recharged pneumatics.
Good question. What's the range on that?
On this, I mean, if you were
Yeah.
hunting, you could probably kill a rabbit at 150 yards if you wanted to, and the wind wasn't blowing.
So do you pre-pump those?
Yeah, you
No,
say you
this
pump
is,
it up. How do
yeah,
you
you pumped out, I brought an air compressor that I'll show you. And this is modern day technology. This is Brocock. You can, it has power adjustments on it. It has 4. All the way up is high power. You're shooting at about 1,000 feet a second. And depending upon the weight of the pellet you're shooting, you can take pretty much any kind of game up to a coyote with this. If you hunting, I don't hunt. But it has 2 regulators on it. One tells you how much is in the carbon fiber tank. That's a 480 cc tank. And then it has a Huma regulator in it, which every shot is the same amount of air, each shot. So you're going to get consistent accuracy with that. And
give us a ballpark number, something like that.
this gun, it was 1,600, and the scope was like 4. But your object is to hit what you're shooting at, and you can hit the same hole at 30, 40 yards with this gun, the same hole. And he'll tell you he's had them. Accuracy is unbelievable with these things.
What kind of recoil is there?
None.
None.
None, no recoil.
Wow.
Absolutely none. And they have, they used to call them moderators, but this is a silencer. You can take it off if you want to. But the noise is pretty much just like a click. They call them backyard friendly. You can shoot in your backyard, your neighbor won't even know you're doing it. Wow. And the noise it makes is the target you hit. So it depends on what kind of target you're using. I take a box sometimes and fill it up with cat litter. That stops the pellet from going through the box. And I've shot in the backyard for hours on end, and none of my neighbors know that I'm doing it. I know you're probably not supposed to, but I guess till I get caught. But this is a compressor. You can get these on Amazon. I think I paid $275 for this, 4,600 PSI. That's a lot of air for a small thing.
Yeah.
These are called shoebox compressors. And it has, you can plug it up to the wall and use it, or I can, I have cables that hook up to the battery on my truck, or I can plug it into my truck. And it'll fill the gun up. If this was almost completely empty, probably within 5 minutes. But the old way was a hand pump, and let me tell you that, it's like chopping wood. It's actually worse. And so you're sitting there, it'll take you almost 30 minutes to fill that gun up, because you're doing this, and they're very hard to push down. And it gets hot, so you have to take a break, let that cool off, and then you go back out there and you're back shot. So I got rid of it and got the compressor, and it's been a lifesaver. They're wonderful. They don't make any noise either.
Do you take it with you to the range, to compressor, or
Oh,
or you fill up early? How long does the air last?
This gun, you can probably get 100, 120 shots with this gun. And I've never shot 120 times. You'll run out of patience before you run out of air.
So these have magazines or single loads or how?
Okay, this one is a single shot. This one you can put a tray in it. I should have brought my glasses. Anyway, this slides out and you slide a 10-shot magazine in it. And this one is also that way.
It looks like a revolver. Take a cylinder out with another cylinder in. So pretty simple.
I don't have a pocket to slide that out, but 10-shot magazine slides in. It's got super magnets in it that hold it in place. And but if you're just doing target shooting, most people use a single shot tray in it. It's just more accurate for some reason. Any questions?
Tell us about the history a little bit.
Oh, I think, if I'm not mistaken, air rifles were an Italian guy. I think he invented in the 16th century sometime. And Lewis and Clark carried an air rifle when they went across country, and they actually killed deer with it.
With an air rifle?
I'm sorry.
With an air rifle?
Air rifle.
Deer? What
They had
caliber?
2 of them. And they had a pump that went with it. It was a leather bag. And I think the compressor, the chamber was on the very back of the stock. And they would take that thing and pump it up, and it shot a round ball. And they actually did kill deer with it. And I don't know, the highest caliber I know was a 50 caliber. And they kill water buffalo with those things. And it's shooting a 250 grain bullet at 1,000 feet or so. That packs a wallop. And he had a 50 caliber, and you don't have a silencer for those. They're tremendously loud. And yeah, you could hear it half a mile away.
They're louder than a normal 50 cal pistol or gun.
But they also have some of these air rifles that you can get. You can slide an arrow, you can change the barrel on it and slide an arrow into it and shoot an arrow. Yeah, you can deer hunt with it.
Wow.
It changes all the time. And I bought this one 3 months ago, and there's other guns out now that are a little bit better than this one. It changes all the time.
You need a license or?
No, you do not. No,
Even the high powered?
I'm sorry.
Even the high powered ones?
No
No.
license, no background check. They don't even take your driver's license when you buy it.
And up until about 2 years ago, you had to get a special permit to be able to purchase one of these, the silencers.
Oh, yeah, the suppressor.
And, but now they've changed the regulations and stuff on these things. And if you were to go down there, you could pick one up. There's several different manufacturers, but this is a Donnie FL, and I like them. I've got 3 of them, and they're probably as good as any that are out there. And it really muffles the gun. If I shot this gun in here, the people up front would come down here and see what was going on. It's loud. But
Question.
yes, sir.
So you're filling the air up with your compressor.
Mhm.
But I think last month you said that, again, different gun, different rifle maybe, but you used to have to search and there was only one place that could fill up the high compression.
I have a
He
compressor.
has the compressor.
right here.
I didn't have the compressor. I have to travel to Gilbert.
But that would do it.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, it'll actually, if you let it run, it would probably burst that carbon fiber tank. Because you have a cutoff on it. This one is like 220 bar, and that's like a little less than 3,000 PSI on this gun. And it's got a gauge on you. You get in the red, you could get in really a lot of trouble with that right there, but you want to watch this. And this one doesn't have an automatic cutoff. It's the ones that are a little bit higher priced, you can set what you want it. You can leave and go and come back. It's cut itself off. But they go into the thousands of dollars. When you get up to the big ones, like you had a gun club, everybody would go in and buy it. It's a couple grand, and you could use it, fill scuba tanks up with those. This one, not.
Couple $100, you're good.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I found it on Amazon, and this is probably made. It's one of the air gun companies. It's made in China, which all of them are. There's none made in the country. It didn't have the decals on it, and you look at the one that's got the name and everything. It's the same compressor, and they don't make a lot of noise either. And you have what about it? I have that little, or maybe I left it over there. Anyway, it's they call it a whip. It just attaches here, and you plug it into your gun at the very end, and you check for air leaks. You can put your hand down there and feel it, and just let it run for a little bit, and just come back and check it. And it just has a cooling fan on it, and the inverter has a fan built in it, so it will not get hot. And you could probably fill 4 or 5 guns up with it before you needed to cut it off and let it cool.
Do you
Anything?
have a favorite?
Oh, this one definitely.
And why is that?
Jeez,
Technology.
Yeah.
Every year, it seems like the technology is so advanced. When you buy the newest and best and latest, you're like, oh,
You guys
this
will
is
look at it.
unbelievable.
This
And
is,
then 1 year later, there's something better. You're like, how are they
I
doing
bought
that?
this one because of the stock. It's got the wiper stripes in it. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's not very heavy. It's more like your conventional hunting rifle. And I think you can get 60 to 70 full power shots out of that one. And you're shooting, it depends on the weight of the pellet. If you shoot a light pellet, you're shooting 900 to 1,000 feet a second. The heavier the pellet, the less you're going to get. But most people in target competition use the 177, but the 22 bucks a win. And the latest thing out now is slugs. Are you aware of that? Okay. The bullet coefficient on those, the wind can be 5 or 6 miles an hour, and that pellet will just go straight. And it's crazy how. And they have hitting targets at almost 400 yards with a 22 shooting slugs. I mean, it just, you cannot believe it. They shoot, and you, well, where'd it go? And then it hits it.
So have you switched completely over to air guns, or do you still have?
Oh, I've got the other stuff.
Okay.
But it's so expensive to do the others. You can buy a 500 box of pellets, 177 for about 12 bucks. You're not going to shoot 500 pellets in a day. You might in a month or 2.
So the investment is in the gun itself.
Yeah, but now you can get a really accurate entry-level gun for around $300 or $400. But you don't want to get a break barrel unless it's a gas piston. It's got a piston inside that's filled with nitrogen. And once you cock it, you don't get the recoil. But if you got a Springer, it will jar you. It's like shooting a 410 shotgun, and they're not near as accurate either. So I would go ahead and spend the money, and Benjamin makes some, and you can probably get the compressor and the gun for probably $600 or $700, and that's not a bad deal. But I've shot these. I've shot, oh my God, hundreds of thousands of pellets. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I kept all of them. And I had a box like this, just filled, probably weighed 30 or 40 pounds. And you're talking about, you know, an 8 grain or a 12 grain. That's a lot of pellets.
Yeah, when I first moved here, I bought a 50 cal that looked similar to this one, without the silencer, of course. And took it home, and they were all telling me, I guess it was sales also. first time in Phoenix, they, said they can't shoot within the city limits, so I want them to shoot something, and this goes slower than speed of sound, so there's gonna be a little lighter and a little less volume. So I was like, oh, I'll just shoot this in my backyard. I had a mountain in my backyard, and took that first shot, and I was like, oh my God, I needed air protection. And put air protection on, and I'm like, nope, this thing's, I'm not gonna be able to shoot this thing forever, because it started really bucking on me. And I said, this thing just, it will take down a coyote in a second. I mean, it's just, they'll put them down in a minute. But I said, this is way too much for me. And then I found out that, of course, we were talking about the weight of the bullets and the bullet sizes and how many times you can shoot. There's is this 1.77?
That's a 2.2.
Two?
Yeah.
At 1.77 that I had that looked almost exactly like that, I could probably shoot 30 rounds before the meter would start to move. And I loved it. So I had two guns, at 1.77 I could shoot, and we were shooting little pop-up targets, probably 1/4 inch wide. And they would fall down, and I would have a little string to pop them all back up. And if I started to miss, before I said it was me, I would look at my air, and the air was always off just a little. And then I'd go fill it up again with a scuba tank. And sure enough, you're right on the money every single time. Because you're not afraid of the recoil, you're not afraid of the trigger pull. Everything is so nice and smooth, very quiet. I had a nice silencer on mine. My neighbor would text me when I started shooting, and all they knew is all they could hear is ding, because that was the sound I was making from the start. They are not shooting. But when I got that 50 out, everybody knew that I was shooting the 50. So I couldn't. It's not kind of wasn't the purpose that I wanted it for. Plus, the 50 only got like 15 shots, and then I had the whole tank was almost empty.
So there's a meter, you say, on the?
Yeah, they have there's 2 gauges on side of it. One is the tank, and one is the pressure itself that's giving into the bullet. So that
This one shows the
I mean, it is
pressure
so
in your tank.
precise.
And this is the regulator that regulates how much air goes through after you pull the trigger. And with the regulator here, it's the same. It's only off maybe 1 or 2 foot-pounds.
So does that impact the distance or the accuracy? What is it?
No, it
Diminishes?
helps the accuracy.
You
It
wanna
maintains
get-
the accuracy.
You want to get it as close as, I don't know, 1100 for the speed of sound, but you don't want to go over 1100 because now you can crack. Now,
Yeah.
as soon as you pull the trigger, it's going to sound like a real gun. So you want to keep it under the speed of sound, and you don't hear anything but a whisper.
Joe, why don't you, oh, go ahead.
When you use the scuba tank to fill these, that particular rifle right there, and a scuba tank would fill that up how many times?
Oh, good gosh. But the real big scuba tanks, I bought a mid-size one, and the mid-size one I think was like $130, and I could probably get 10 good fills.
10 charges.
Yeah, and I have to drive all the way back down to Gilbert. That's what kind of got old, going back and forth. I knew there were some things like this to pump it up, but it was just, I don't know. I felt much better just having the tank with me and doing it that way. Until it just got too much. I probably got rid of the 50 within 6 months, just because it was just sitting around and I knew I was not going to use it anymore. And a couple of times that I visited the AZ store in Arizona, which is, like he said, not only is it nationwide, but it's worldwide. The store itself is probably half the size of this room, but the warehouse behind it is probably the size of this building. I mean, they got a ton all over the world. Yeah, they got a ton of folks working there. They know every single thing there is to know about the firearms. They have their own sponsorships, their own meets, which is very popular around here. I got to find out when I started getting the 1.77, they were all inviting me to all these shoots or meets, and I'm like, I don't even know these things exist. Well, you're in a large armory, good, I don't know, 50, 75 feet, and the targets, it's unless you shot them, it's so hard to when he says the bullet goes right through the hole. If I see 2 holes, I know I lost that competition. Because
Wow.
they literally go through every single hole, every single time. I mean, that's how accurate these things are. I mean, if you had a mouse you were shooting at, I could say left eye or right eye.
Oh, wow.
And it would just obliterate the rat. So, but they were a lot of fun. It was pretty inexpensive. I kind of missed my 177. My wife doesn't because I think the one I got was like $2,600. Yeah, you're paying up front, you're paying a lot for the technology, which the technology is absolutely like way higher than anybody ever thought.
So Joe, tell us what you brought today.
Today I ordered what they call a burner gun. This is something that came out within the last 6 months. It looks like a regular firearm, does not operate like a regular firearm. This is by all definitions not a firearm. By every definition, by every law of the land, it's not. It's as much air rifle, air gun as anything else. Technically, you could bring this on an airplane. Would I? Heck no, because you're gonna be taken down, you're in jail, and then you're gonna have to explain why this is not an air gun. So it would be better not to. But to put this or throw this in the luggage, I would probably do that. Although they say you should just put the whole thing in there and claim it like a regular firearm. But I don't know if anybody's ever done that on an airplane. It is a pain in the butt. So to throw this in your luggage would be the way to go. They shoot. The neat thing about these is they're trying to say the taser. The taser is like the best thing in law enforcement. It makes it equalize all law enforcement laws. If you had a warrant to serve and you knew he was going to fight you, you want some of the biggest guys you got in your squad to come help you. Well, now I just need 5 people. I don't care if they're 4 foot tall, female. That doesn't matter because if a struggle occurs, the girl is most likely, or the smallest person is most likely to bring out the taser, and it's going to be over in just a second because you're not going to fight with the taser on you. In fact, everybody I know that's been shot with one, criminal-wise, as soon as I break it out, they're like, okay, they don't even want to fight me. They don't want to resist me because that's kind of the worst pain you'll ever have for 5 seconds. But again, it's just for 5 seconds, and then there's no residual on a taser. That's why when I hear people talking about they want to take them out of schools, that is the worst idea in the world. Why would you want to take them out of schools? They don't hurt you. They don't permanently hurt you. I mean, so you have SROs that if there's a fight going on, he has 2 choices. He has to either jump in and slam somebody against the locker, jump in and wrestle where he could get hurt, or hurt the other person.
Yeah.
With the taser, no one gets hurt, except for the guy you're tasering, and that's only for 5 seconds. When people tell me I don't want my child getting shot with a taser. I take my nightstick out and whack you in the leg, that is gonna be 6 weeks of pain when a taser is gonna be over in 5 seconds.
So is that gun you have, is that an air gun?
This is an air gun. It shoots on a CO2 tank. I think you can get about 20, I haven't shot it yet, but I think you can get about 20 shots out of a single cylinder. Each cylinder has its magazine, very similar to firearm operation. But the neat thing about these is bullets themselves. These bullets are kinetic bullets, and they're plastic. So they're like a paintball gun. Paintball guns usually go about 250 feet per second. And I don't know if anybody's been hit with a paintball gun, but you'll get a little welt. You'll know you've been hit with a paintball gun. These go 50 feet faster than a paintball gun. And this will instantly leave a welt, 50-cent piece instantly. And then the next day, it looks like you've already got shot by a gun because it just spreads out to purple. Now, if you don't want something like this, they make them, and I have them on order right now. They have a CS and so they mix pepper. They mix CS and pepper in a chemical agent, and they'll put it in one of these. And it kind of looks, it's hollow, so it's not meant to hurt you. You can see when it's hollow and it's empty, but they're filled with CS and pepper spray. So if I wanted to clear out this room, I just shoot it at the wall one time.
Huh.
And this whole room would be gone in a matter of seconds. They got YouTube videos where they're shooting right next to the guy, and it takes like 1 second for it to inert, and from then on, he's screaming like a little baby.
They're thinking about using this for riot control?
Well, they're thinking about doing away with the taser and using these. These have 30 feet of accuracy. And the bullet come around, I would not want to be, I would rather take a hit with a taser than this any day. But this has the range, taser has a 7-foot range. So you've already got beyond the person. And yeah, it's almost too late.
How's it?
And that's what we're finding out with the taser a lot. Taser, you have 2 darts, you have to be accurate on both. And the targets that we have to qualify on for taser keep getting smaller and smaller, the area that we're allowed to use that target at. You know, now they want you to have, the top target needs to be on the upper thigh. Well, that means the lower leg is only just, you know, it may not work because one dart will not do anything. So, but you're pretty close with the taser, and a lot of times I feel it's too close. You already told the person you're under arrest, he's already said no, and now you got to take 2 steps back and go to taser or hands on right off the bat. When this, you could actually retreat, come back fast, and he's not going to have a chance.
So this ammo stays intact when it hits.
Yes, that one's going to be, that's a solid piece of plastic, and would hurt extremely bad.
And the other one,
Yeah, that
even
one,
if you shot at a person, it would.
yeah, just explode.
Okay, I got it.
That is if it's not winter and he's wearing a heavy leather jacket.
If he's wearing a heavy leather jacket, I'd go with the pepper,
Right.
because it would explode on the jacket, and there you go. Would this pellet go good for the leather jacket? It would probably be a good cushion for it. That would not work. Where taser would work with a heavy leather jacket. You can work. I've had bubble jackets.
And it'll go through.
Well, it doesn't go through. You don't really want it to go through. Yeah, that's just one of the, because they have little burrs on it on the end. So if it goes through, just first layer of skin is the only thing it hits. But if it goes, if people think that they wear multiple jackets, it's not going to go through, which it's not. But the arc will. So, but the arc hurts worse than the dart. So when people wear, and I laugh like hell because I'm like, here it comes. Because they're like, oh, go ahead, you're not going to shoot me with that thing. Okay. And it's kind of humorous when they think that they know more than you know, and it just hurts twice as bad. So don't wear so many jackets next time. You know? They're trying to defeat. They already know they've already been shot once, and this is like the jail cell. They talk about, oh, if we wear multiple stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just another tool. Of course, what's going on now, everybody is saying that law enforcement is beating up on Black America or killing Black America. Last year, the statistics were, you know, if you watch the news, I don't know how, you probably watch CNN, but everybody else doesn't. If you watch CNN or NBC, it's like we're targeting Black people for some reason, and that's not the case. Law enforcement, you're 100 times more capable of getting killed by a Black person than you are a white person. That's just statistics for police officers. Now, we don't care about the statistics. We treat everybody the same. So they say we're hurting or we're killing Black people. How many died last year? Does anybody know?
Wouldn't it like 20?
7.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
7. That's a weekend in Chicago. So
Saturday night.
So yeah, Saturday, it's a Saturday night. So talking about it, we're just trying to get more tools.
So is that, would you say that's a good home defense weapon to have?
I would say my wife loves this because she doesn't want to shoot the wrong person. She sees what's going on in the news that you don't want to, if the guy dies, all of a sudden the family is like the best family in the world. Here, he's not going to get killed. So somebody can come through the door and she can shoot him. It sounds like it's not as loud, but it definitely sounds like a real gun. But it's just, if you're not familiar with real guns, you would think you're getting shot.
How's that? Got much of a recoil on it?
No recoil, no big sound. It has a little sound, but not much. But most of it is just a bullet coming out of it, which is just a piece of plastic.
And how much is that?
This group right here runs $350, so it's extremely inexpensive. So for law enforcement, it would definitely be another tool in there to wear. But they're gonna have to get rid of, at one point, they're gonna have to get rid of some of the stuff they're carrying now, just to be able to wear that, like every other person have one of these. Because there's use for the taser, there's use for this.
So is that available for sale to civilians or just still on?
It is for sale on the internet,
On the internet?
$350. Anybody, there's no license, no background check, no special, nothing. It even comes with a big old card that says, I might have taken it out. Oh, here it is. This is not a firearm. Big old letter that says, this is not a firearm.
And who's the manufacturer?
Burner?
Burner?
Yeah, BYRNA, Burner. And this is the first thing they made. Soon as I seen it, I purchased it, and they said they had a 2-week delivery. It ended up being an 8-week delivery. So I wrote them a letter saying, just or email, saying, hey, I'm not upset. I just want to know when's it coming. Just give me a general idea. And they said they had a factory that made their home factory made 200 of these a week. And he says, and they were going to be a up and coming company. So this is their own garage, basically. Well, he says, we have enough orders for 20,000 a week. He says, so, and he says, depending on where you are, and he looked up and he says, you're not far. He says, you were one of our first customers. He says, so it'll be another 2 weeks. So I waited 4 weeks for it. He said, but law enforcement agencies across the world are buying these things like crazy. It's a nice, safe way to go. And it comes in any color you want. If your wife wants a pink one, it comes in pink. I mean,
That's good.
the only thing I disagreed with was that it comes in black, and I don't think that's a good idea. Officer sees this, he's gonna know right off the back that it's probably not a gun, or a yellow one. And that's just our training. Everything we carry that's not lethal or non-lethal is yellow or orange.
So you don't need a concealed permit for that.
No permit, no rules, regulations, or same thing as that. All the way. It's really a neat piece. I'll pass it around, people not gonna be able to do anything to it. Just
Okay.
show you that.
Yeah. Tom,
See what they think.
well, where would you start if someone wanted to get into air rifles?
Like I said, you could go in, like the one I had here for $30 at Walmart. You're gonna be unhappy with that. I mean, it's a good thing to start with, and if you had grandkids, you could, let them shoot it, and get them interested in it, but you're gonna end up buying something nice. You really will, and you can buy the gun, you can get them off Amazon or go to AOA, they have everything down there. The good thing about Air Guns of Arizona is they have gunsmiths there, and everybody in there knows what they're talking about. You can tell when somebody's pulling your leg. And they have a girl that's working there. I think her name is Lauren. She is a world champion pellet gun shooter. She travels all over the world, and she's won multiple world championships. And they have a, what's that bench rest thing they have here? No, the bench rest championship they have here.
Oh,
They come from all over the world. And I mean, almost every country is represented. And it's like a 2 or 3 day event. And any gun that you can think of is there. And they'll have some guns there that you can actually shoot. I've never been, I wanted to go, but the technology changes so much on these things. But the accuracy on this one, it'll shoot as good as probably that one, if, but it's a single shot. And this one, you just get so many more shots. And with that Puma regulator on it, it's going to shoot more accurate than this gun will. But I'm going to tell you, I had a basement. I had a range in my basement. It was 69 feet from one end to the other, and I shot off my pool table. And I built me a pellet trap, and I cut razor blades in half with this guy. I mean, consistently. And set a card up, shoot a card in half is nothing. I mean, but you think that cutting a card in half is really, well, that's hard. It's really not. They're that accurate. I mean, I'm shooting off the pool table, and I've got my sandbags up there, so the gun is not going to move.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you just shoot. You're shooting in the same hole. And I set a 22, spent 22 cartridge up on my workbench just to see. Well, I shot this gun and I heard a small tink and I went up there. It went through the 22 casing and knocked the primary out the back. And it was just a brass tube with a hole in it. And I've shot flies at 75 feet with this gun. They're that accurate. It's the most accurate gun you can shoot. I'll put them up against anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I had borrowed a 22 before I went to go purchase all these. My neighbor had one similar to this. And he says, oh yeah, take it in your backyard, get yourself a plywood background. And put it there. I said, well, I got, Arizona, you have all these walls, concrete walls. I said, I'll just put a piece of wood in front of that and go to town. So I was probably 30 feet from the target. That's a good distance. And I go down, I took the first couple targets. And after a while, I began to hear something that I wasn't used to. And I'm like, what is going on? So I go to look at the target, and it was going through and hitting the block wall was going through. Oh my goodness.
they'll shoot through a half-inch pine board all day long and not even stop.
So I took 2 pieces of 3/4, which nothing was going to go through. A 22 caliber would not penetrate any of that. But after about 4 shots, I was going through both those targets. So you have to be going through the same hole. Was no joke. It was going through the same. So that's when I learned to buy just a little 1/4-inch circles, and that way I wasn't going through the same hole. I was just going through regular targets.
At what range?
30 feet.
30 feet, okay.
And it was going through 2, 3, 3/4 pieces of plywood.
Well, like how strong they are. You've seen these Teflon pans that they advertise on TV. Well, we had one, and of course it gave out after about a month, and it was sticking like crazy. So the wife wanted to pull it away, so I went and hung it up in the garage. It shot through the frying pan, clean through it, into the wall.
Wow.
I didn't do that anymore.
All right, any more questions for Joe or Tom? Yeah, go ahead.
What's the maintenance on these? Did you go for that already, or?
You don't want to get any oil in the barrel actually, because it's called dieseling. It'll actually ignite and smoke will come out the barrel. A lot of people you'll see them on YouTube. They'll sport WD-40 in the barrel, and it will explode, and it makes the pellet go faster than a 22 long rifle. But it's really bad on the gun, and I've had this one rebuilt one time, the seals, and I've had it 19 years. So they're very, very dependable, and you got the best guys in the world down here, and I know what they're talking about. And everything I got from Air Guns of Arizona.
So you don't clean them after you use them?
You can. A lot of people, and all it has to do with the barrel, and some are like I like JDS pellets. They shoot better in my guns than the other guns, but there's hundreds of pellets, different weights. There's hollow points. There's armor piercing. Seriously. Then they've got a polymer tip, and whatever you want is out there. And like I say, I would start out. I wouldn't go down there and spend 2,000 or 3,000, and they've got a gun in there that's almost 5,000. But it's the latest thing out there, and it's got probably 1,000 adjustments on that one gun. You just change things, like you change the weight of the pellet you're shooting. You adjust that, and it's got a memory on it. And then once you go back, you hit the button. It's got a computer inside the gun. And so, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money. I can have just as much fun with these, but some people want the best. But they're pretty much maintenance free.
Okay.
And you can clean it if you want to, but if you're shooting, you see the accuracy drop off, it's probably there's a little leading built up inside the barrel, and you just run a scrub through it like 1 or 2 times, and then run a patch through to make sure there's no oil in it, and you're good to go. But I haven't cleaned that one. I haven't cleaned this one or these back here in a couple years.
Yeah, the only thing that would be dirty is the lead itself.
Yeah.
But it's not tightly as tight as a regular barrel. So you're gonna get a little bit of residue, but they come in little cartons, the bullets. Whenever I finish one, I'd probably just put a dry patch through it and then pull it out. It took me less than a second or two. But I found very little on the patch. It's just something I couldn't
Yeah.
In my own mind, I would have to do this after every other shot with a gun, my sniper rifle. So I couldn't not do it.
But there's another thing that you can do if you worry about residue on the pellets that you buy. You can just get like a plastic jar that you can see through, put a little bit of dish detergent in it, a little bit of water, and you put them in there and you slosh it back and forth like that. And you'll see the water start getting gray. And after you do that, pour the water off and then put the pellets on a towel and just kind of roll them back real easy, because the pellets now are made of really soft lead, because they chamber easier than the older pellets used to. They were really hard. And then you don't have anything on there. So there would be no reason for you to have any residue in your barrel.
Okay, well, let's thank Joe and Tom for nice job. Thanks, nice job. Appreciate it.
Go someplace, I'll bring them and let you guys shoot them.
So could you,
Really will be good.
Yeah.
are you gonna come today? We're going to C2 Tactical.
I was gonna take a wife bowling, but I can always do that. She beats my ass.
All right, well, again, thank you very much, guys, for bringing this stuff. All right, for those who want to go, everybody drives over to see, you know where C2 Tactical is. You take, okay, I take 107 to Beardsley to the, no, I take 17 to the 303 to the 17 to 101, get off at Scottsdale Road. And when you get off, it's right there. It's on Mayo Clinic Drive or whatever they call that. And Jeff Smith, remember the name, if you don't have his card, he has offered to give everybody an hour of free shooting, hour of free range. So make sure, just tell me you're with the Trilogy Gun Club and enjoy there. And then everybody's on their own. If you want to stay longer than an hour, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys next month sometime. Thanks all for coming. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.